always been a storyteller ever since I was a child. Drawing pictures, stories, and that type of thing. It's just something that's always been a part of who I am. I went through this process of thinking perhaps I was being called to the diaconate. Did the whole Here I Am Day, all of that, the parish committee on ministry, which I found to be a really meaningful process. And by the end of it, I wasn't sure if I was being called to the diaconate or was I being called to lay ministry. And the committee, thankfully, they could hear it loud and clear, more so than I could, which I think is one of the really cool things that we do here, this very intentional exploration of how you're being called in community. And so at the end of it, they go, yeah, you're being called to digital evangelism. And I thought that was really interesting because I didn't really realize that I had already been doing it. I had been writing about my faith and my journey through my website for years. And I just never really had the confidence to think that I was enough of an expert. And that could be where academia almost works against me because I don't have an MDiv. So I'm thinking, I can't talk about this. And then I realized, oh, actually, I can. Social media is something that just comes naturally to me. I'm fortunate that I personally have a large audience already from having worked in news media and whatnot and being kind of on the influencer side of things for several years. So I'm able to take what I've learned through that and then apply it to St. Francis. Now it helps that our rector is also very open to these things. He's also not afraid to make fun of himself a little bit in the process. And I think that also helps humanize things. A lot of times you've got potential parishioners or even current parishioners who they're not really sure where they want to go, or they're not really sure where they're going to fit in. And that's part of how we're using social media to help tell that story. You don't have to be perfect at this. I think a lot of people get so caught up in thinking they have to have the perfect equipment or they have to look exactly right on camera. And fortunately, digital trends, at least right now, are moving more towards things that are a little bit more informal anyway. I mean, my most popular video on my social media is not very well shot. It's casual. It's in my parents' kitchen. There's stuff everywhere. And I just hit 11 million views. Now, it's not a church video, but I think it's a good example of you don't have to be so worried about things being perfect. Just be in the moment, show who you are as a church. That's what people really want to know anyway, is who are you? And it's not necessarily the perfect liturgy or the beautiful lighting, and those things all have a place, of course, but don't get too caught up in thinking that it has to be perfect. For me personally, it's just about being honest about my own personal journey. But that's very much my story. Nobody else can tell that. So in order for that to be translated to others, I at least think that if individuals can feel a bit more empowered to tell their own story, then that would help others feel like they have a place.